Tokyo is a dream travel destination, and Japan is seen as a safe country for solo travelers. It was also seen as safe back in the 2000s. This led a lot of young women going there. What they didn't know was that there was a man in Tokyo on the hunt, specifically for foreign women. Let's talk about it. It was the year 2000 when the 21-year-old British woman Lucy Blackman decided to travel to Tokyo. She wanted an adventure, but what she found was the devil. Unlike many others, Lucy didn't go alone. She went with a friend, Louise. The two didn't just want to travel, they had decided to stay a whole year in Japan. Of course, that meant that they needed money, and Lucy easily found a job as a hostess in a nightclub named Casablanca. This club was mostly frequented by very rich men. Lucy's job was to serve drinks and entertain these mostly elderly men. It was a job that could earn you a lot of money, up to $50 an hour. But with that came certain expectations. Before the men went into the clubs, a lot of them expected to have dinner with the hostesses. And just to be clear, sex was never involved in this. Nonetheless, Lucy went on one of those quote-unquote dates, or duhans as they were called. It was July the 1st, 2000, and Lucy never returned from that date. A short while later, her worried friend Louise got a very strange call. A man on the other line told her that Lucy had joined a sect and would never return. Of course, the young woman didn't believe this, and she immediately alerted Lucy's family in England and the authorities in Japan. Lucy's mom, her dad Tim Blackman, and her sister Sophie traveled to Japan shortly after to help search for their missing family member. In Japan, this entire situation was essentially downplayed. Only 5 police officers were actively searching, and the Japanese media didn't even show Lucy's picture to help find her. That was until Tim Blackman gave a press conference where he openly criticized the Japanese government, the police, and the media. And suddenly, hundreds of police officers were searching for the young girl. And they finally started to question people. A group of hostesses from Lucy's work all claimed that they had went out with a wealthy client. And after they had drinks with him, they had blacked out and woken up again the next morning in his apartment, with no recollection of how they got there or what happened the night before. They all claimed to have been sick afterwards, and some of them even thought that they had been assaulted. This client had a routine. He picked the girls up in a luxury car, a Mercedes, a Porsche, or sometimes even a Lamborghini. Then he drove them down to the beach, close to his apartment. There, he drugged them, and then assaulted them. The woman had reported all of this to the local police, but they had been ignored. It became abundantly clear that a predator was on the prowl in Tokyo, and that the police had failed to acknowledge this. It still took months to find the man. It was Joji Obara. He was Korean, but he had been raised in Japan. His family had built a real estate empire. He grew up spoiled and got whatever he wanted. What he didn't get, he took. And that included mostly foreign women. When the police raided his apartment, they found over 400 videotapes, each one for a different woman. The tapes showed him assaulting each and every one of them. But there was more. There was a video of a woman named Carita Ridgway. She was Australian, and she had also worked as a hostess 8 years before Lucy had disappeared. The video showed him assaulting her, and in it you can also see her starting to foam at the mouth and Joji panicking. The police followed her name and found out that Carita had been brought to the hospital 8 years before Lucy had disappeared by an unknown man who had claimed she had food poisoning. She died in that hospital. It wasn't until the tape was found that Carita's family found out she had been murdered. He was arrested, but he denied knowing Lucy Blackman. Of course, the police didn't believe him, so they started digging and found out what he had been up to the day Lucy disappeared. He had taken her to dinner at around 3 p.m. 2 hours later, he had taken her to his beach apartment, about 50 kilometers away from Tokyo. Till today, we don't know exactly what happened that night. But the police found out that he had bought a chainsaw, cement, and gloves 3 days later. The day after this purchase, one of his neighbors had complained about the noise he was making. So the police searched the entire beach. And 7 months after her disappearance, the police finally found Lucy's body in a cave right by the ocean, hidden under an old bathtub. He had dismembered her, and her head he had for some reason poured concrete over. He was charged with her murder and the manslaughter of Carita.